Może to sobie zobaczymy. O CD Projekcie. Jakiś materiał związany z Wiedźminem 4. CDPR designer wants to punch you. Dawaj.
We often talk about patterns and pattern recognition with the video games that have been coming out, specifically in 2024,
Dzięki,
when they
Jakobus.
display
Dzięki,
a
Budyni
habit
Bogusław.
of portraying certain, we'll just say, ideologies and agendas in the games themselves. But another pattern
Wiedźmin
that's
4
been
jest
discovered
woke.
is the actual people behind the games and how they consistently
Cian,
display
Maher.
that pattern of hating the very gamers that they're making games for. What's going on, guys? Welcome to
Nie,
another
no,
episode
nie,
of Smash
nie
TV.
mówcie mi,
And
że...
today I had to don my nose ring mafia shirt specifically for the character in question, Cian Maher, a franchise and lore designer that has been hired on
Lore
at
designer.
CD Projekt Red, the company that is quickly turning into one of the most anti-gamer establishments out there, hiring people with a disdain of the very audience that they're meant to be making games for in the first place. And you think one person would be enough for you to make videos on and talk about these people that have agendas and ideologies that they're shoving into the games? But no, this is now the second person at CD Projekt Red that I'm covering. The initial one was Mary Kenny, and for those of you that missed it, this person was displaying a habit of wanting to push ideologies of LGBTQ plus QYA agendas into games, and I'll put that video above me if you missed it, but basically surmise it to say of this person, Mary Kenny specifically, wanted games to have an LGBTQ agenda in them, and would do everything they could, pull every
Czemu
lever
gry?
to ensure that would happen, which is fine if that's the audience you're going.
Ej, ale na przykład ja nie rozumiem jednego takiego elementu. Dlaczego jeżeli ludzie twierdzą, że gry powinny mieć takie elementy, to czemu nie stworzą sobie własnego IP-sa, które to po prostu mają, tylko oczekują, że jakiś nowy IP, w sensie jakiś stary IP to będzie posiadał? Tego nie rozumiem. Po co się zatrudnia takich ludzi do już działających gatunków gier? Może nawet nie gatunków, a do działających tytułów? Zamiast wziąć i sobie zrobić nowy, bo oni cały czas próbują robić jakiś taki nowy tytuł i on po prostu nie wypala i wtedy są źli, bo wychodzi kurwa Zał, wychodzi Concord, wychodzi Unknown Nine i to nagle nie działa, to się nie sprzedaje. Tam nie można swojej ideologii, słuchajcie, odpowiednio ludziom podawkować, więc trzeba wziąć działający już tytuł na rynku, takiego Dragon Age'a i trzeba zniszczyć Dragon Age'a tym. I wtedy w Dragon Age'u trzeba moralizować ludzi. I nagle fani Dragon Age'a przestają kupować Dragon Age'a, Dragon Age okazuje się wtopą, ale oni mają to, co chcieli osiągnąć, bo jednak 1 milion osób kupuje grę z ich przekazem.
But you're gonna upset the vast majority of gamers that don't want this kind of stuff put in your games. And then we move on to the latest person in question, Cian Maher, who used to be a quote-unquote journalist for The Gamer, among a slew of other outlets. And from what I can tell, this guy has no discernible actual game development skills or experience, but instead a well-documented history of outwardly expressing hatred and hostility towards gamers, going so far as to say he wants to punch you, which I'm sure is going to go over well with people wanting to open their wallets and buy his game. Hit that subscribe, give me a like.
No dobra, on napisał komuś na Twitterze.
Article going through everything I could
No,
find
chyba
on
to
this
naciągane
guy.
będzie,
And
co?
holy crap, it's so much. It's not just 1 or 2 or 3 tweets. It's basically every tweet he put out there over the past few years where I could find something inflammatory from it. And I'm just like,
To chyba trochę
why are you the
naciągane.
way you are? Just don't be like this. Focus on making great games that people want to play. Stop attacking the very audience that wants to buy them. Maher's career began in quote-unquote journalism, and as we know that type by now, he worked as an associate editor and eventually lead features editor at thegamer.com, a site that I felt personally has become the breeding ground for some of the worst, most spite-filled, hateful people in video games media. So no, what I'm going to discuss about this guy didn't really shock me at all. It's right in line with all the other people that seem to come out of these organizations. It's a breeding ground for hatred, and it's exactly what we're putting the spotlight on to get rid of it. During his tenure there, and even after being hired at CDPR, Maher has repeatedly made inflammatory statements about gamers, and there is an exhaustive amount of stuff that I'm not going to cover in this video because it would be like a 2-hour
Sam
long
to pisze, cannot wait to see the absurd mental gymnastic and show once the Hogwarts Legacy Defense Club logs on later today.
video if I displayed every single tweet that I felt was inflammatory and hateful against gamers and read through each of them, it would go
Imagine buying and playing Hogwarts Legacy instead of taking 12 valuable days to prepare yourself for like a Dragonation. Ale nie wiem, kurwa, tu nie ma nic takiego.
on forever. So I'm just gonna pick some of the top ones out and talk about them here. If you guys want the extended version with all the information, I linked it in the Smash JT article. A small channel called The Reviewer Wild Take with, at this point, 159 subscribers made a video called Meet CD Projekt Red Lore Designer Who Wants to Punch Gamers. And this video goes through almost every single tweet showing them on screen, and it is a ridiculous rabbit hole to go down. And when you take a step back, you're like, who is hiring these people? They gotta be doing some sort of background research on them to make sure that they're qualified, and more importantly, that they're not gonna make their own company look bad. I don't know if CD Projekt Red was just lazy and didn't do any research on the people that they're hiring, or more concerning, did do the research and didn't see a problem with it. In July of 2022, he shared a meme captioning, "I am once again asking you to stop being toxic little weirdos," and then tags @gamers. In June 2021, he mocked gamers again in response to Tariq Musa saying, "I am quite unknown, but I ran away to law school because it was easier than dealing with gamers," with a laughing face. And Cian replied, "Law school being easier than dealing with gamers says everything anyone needs to know about this gig, LMAO."
Jezu, giga to jest naciągane. Ja też mówię, że gracze to są jebani idioci. No i zgodzicie się ze mną? No nie, sorry, to jest bez sensu.
And it's like taking a step back from this. If you are clashing with the very audience, the customers that are consuming your product, maybe, I know crazy thought here, you're in the wrong line of work. And then in January 2020, he talked about how he wanted to punch gamers. Ty Gallows Rose said, "In 2020, I want muscles so I can effectively punch gamers. And also so I can carry cute people and dogs of any size easily," which is weird enough. But of course, Cian the now employee at CD Projekt Red, jumps in and says, "I didn't realize until this tweet, but this is now also what I want." And Christina replied,
Ja
"You want to
pierdolę,
punch, or
serio
you want
takie
CD
rzeczy
to
wyciągają?
punch you?" And Cian said, "Me and Caitlin will punch gamers together," clarifying that he also shares the desire to punch you because he doesn't like any pushback. I'm telling you guys, these people do not understand criticism. They will do anything but be accountable, up to and including sending lawsuits your way, or threatening you, or doing
Nie,
awful
kurwa,
things
dobra,
to
to
you
jest
to
za
ruin your
grube.
lives. Instead of being accountable for awful things they say, they
Nie no,
will
chyba
project
jebanie
it
po graczach to
directly
normalna
onto
rzecz,
you.
nie?
In my humble opinion, many of these people are exactly the same.
Is he friends with some bad faith actors? Well, he certainly loves listener content.
In December 2020, he dismissed criticism of games journalists by saying, "The thing I find funny about gamers complaining about how good game journalists have it is like, if you think this job is so incredibly well paid, it's not, and easy, it's not, why don't you do it yourself?" Okay, we are, and guess what's happening? Gamers are being drawn to personalities that want to represent them, that want to speak for them, that want to put the industry in a better place and push it forward to make great games, not to push agendas and ideologies to hold people down, which is exactly why you clash with these people. And like I said, this goes on
Nie wiem,
forever.
typ wyciąga jakiś wpis sprzed kilku lat, gdzie typ mówi, że bycie dziennikarzem growym wcale nie jest dobrze płatne i wcale nie jest łatwe, po czym zaczyna gadać wokół o ideologii. Jak to nie miało z tym nic wspólnego? Nie wiem. Sorry, ale to jest że jakieś giga naciągane.
There are a ton of examples of just ridiculous tweets he puts out there that are, again, very inflammatory. The pattern he's displaying here with an attitude raises some serious concerns about whether Maher respects the integrity of franchises that he's working on that he's now tasked with overseeing. I'm personally not particularly confident in that. And Maher's disdain for gamers isn't limited to just a few isolated tweets. He's consistently defended DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, something I've talked about at great length on this channel. And again, it always seems to go hand in hand with these people that are all pro-DEI that are very anti-gamer. It really makes you wonder what their ultimate goals really are. In May 2022, he stated, Unfriendly reminder that anyone who responds to calls for diversity with, "How is this fair? Hiring should be based on skill," usually has no skill whatsoever. If you claim you can't get a job because you're straight and white, I'm sorry, you can't get a job because you're shit. Wow. Okay, so now he is completely making a blanket statement across the board here that if you're upset that you feel like you're being turned down for a job because you're straight and white, that you have no skills, which flies directly in the face of many people who I have had personal interactions with in the game industry myself, showing me their resume and their history of great work they've done being passed over for other jobs because of DEI initiatives. It's true. It's happened. I have seen it myself. R continues, people would rather be bigoted and blame the fact they're straight white men on their inability to get a job than, the fact they're not quite as good a writer as they'd like to think, which ironically is a byproduct of unfounded straight white man confidence, which ironically is straight up racist. But apparently it's totally fine to be a straight white male and hate white males. Again, this is a constant pattern, a trend that has been proven with these same types of people over and over and over again, doing the same actions. And you gotta ask at some point, who is hiring these people? Why do they keep getting jobs in the industry if all they do is hate the very customers they're supposed to be making a product for? CD Projekt Red's decision to continue to hire individuals like Maher and Mary
Ja się zgubiłem w tym materiale, nie wiem o czym on jest.
developers prioritizing this kind of ideological conformity over creating games that
Nie
resonate
chcę go
with the
zakończyć, bo
audience.
może tu będzie
Maher's
coś ciekawego,
open disdain
ale
for
tu
gamers,
nie ma nic
combined
ciekawego
with
w
a
sumie.
willingness to undermine
Dzięki,
established
Bobby.
lore, raises some serious questions about CDPR's direction as a studio. The very questions that are being brought to the forefront right now by gamers unhappy with specifically the Witcher 4 reveal trailer. And I don't believe in coincidences. It's almost like the ideologies from these people are working their way into the games that are being made now, and we're seeing the end result of it, and nobody likes it. The gaming community deserves better than being labeled as toxic little weirdos by the very people making the games that they're supposed to love. Until developers start hiring individuals with respect to their own audience rather than attacking them, the backlash will only grow stronger. For now, Maher's presence at CDPR serves as yet another example of a developer completely out of touch with the fan base. And it's exactly why my wallet continues to identify as non-binary with anything CD Projekt Red tries to put out moving forward until drastic changes get made.
Ale może, w sensie, ja rozumiem, że zatrudnienie kogoś z mocno nakreślonymi poglądami do pisania fabuły może być jakimś red flagiem, ale może pierwsze zobaczmy, co wypuszczą, bo jak na razie nie zobaczyliśmy nic konkretnego, co mogłoby nas naprowadzić, że takie rzeczy mogą mieć tam
Guys want more
miejsce.
information? Check out smashjt.com for the full article.
Widzowie, całkowicie szczerze, może CD Projekt jest bardziej cwany niż się wszystkim wydaje i zatrudnia ludzi z mniejszości tylko po to, żeby pokazać na zewnątrz, że zatrudnia ludzi z mniejszości, a obsadza ich do stanowisk, które są w ogóle nieistotne. Może są bardziej przebiegli niż się każdemu wydaje.
For putting all this stuff together. Genuinely appreciate the community coming together and trying to smoke these type of people out of the industry, because at the end of the day, that's how we move forward and progress. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Does he believe that gamers
Nie, dobra, nic ciekawego.